to start with you, Brahma, for a moment, because you've often said that China should be seen as India's biggest security concern. But now, as the war in West Asia escalates, we've just seen the Union Cabinet ease investment rules for Chinese companies in terms of FDI. Do you see a connection that India is now trying to de-risk itself from putting all its eggs, in a way, in the Western basket, particularly in the US basket, and look at China as a potential economic partner?
This shift began much before Trump's Iran war. It's okay to improve relations with China, but what is not okay is to make abrupt reversals in policy without any debate. India's China policy should be guided by a clear-eyed strategic vision. Excessive personalization of foreign policy or abrupt policy reversals cannot safeguard, let alone advance India's long-term interests. From Nehru to Modi, we have seen repeated reversals in China policy. Now, under the present government led by Modi, India's China policy has undergone two major U-turns. In 2020, after we discovered China's stealth territorial encroachments in eastern Ladakh, India's stance completely changed. India restricted Chinese investments, banned apps, tightened procurement rules, and called for reducing economic dependence on China. Now a second U-turn is underway. It began last year. Those same restrictions that were imposed in 2020 are quietly being dismantled without any public debate. So India's China policy under the same government has moved from engagement to confrontation and now back towards accommodation, all within a span of 5 to 6 years. And I think it raises several key things. First, India had pledged, the present government had pledged that relations with China cannot normalize until the border normalizes. This was said not once, not twice, but multiple times. What we are seeing now is the opposite. Economic normalization, despite the border situation not being normal. The second is the strategic contradiction. India is trying to balance China geopolitically while becoming more and more dependent on China economically. How can this contradiction hold indefinitely? And But the most important point is that allowing deeper Chinese penetration of key sectors, whether it's power grids or EV infrastructure, increases China's potential leverage over Indian policy decisions. Economic integration with China is never purely economic. It carries geopolitical implications. And we have seen a reason why we need to be cautious. China has repeatedly used trade and economic leverage as geopolitical tools against other countries, whether it's Australia, South Korea, Mongolia, or even tiny Lithuania. China has never hesitated to use its economic leverage as geopolitical weapons. India cannot assume that economic interdependence will remain purely economic.
I've taken your point, but significantly you're saying this predates Trump's war in Iran.